What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Restoring Hope for Haas. This is race 7 on the calendar, and we're going to be at the French Grand Prix, a Grand Prix that I do really enjoy racing around on this game. I'd say it's maybe it's either top 5 or top 3 racetracks for me, because I'm pretty fast around here compared to the AI, so I can always put in a fight. I'm never falling off the pace, and usually around here I race a little bit higher because I'm racing on 100 AI in this series. I may change that next season depending on how well I do, because I'm consistently battering my teammate right now. But then again, my teammate's Nikita Mazepin, so it's kind of hard to get a grasp on how really good I am compared to the AI. So I might up it a couple clicks next season, maybe to 102, 103. But as of right now, we're going to keep it on 100, because obviously at 100 I can get in the battle a little bit more. I can push further up on the grid, especially in this car, which is very slow compared to all the other cars. But we are upgrading pretty quick. We're ahead of Williams now, and we're very, very, very close to getting ahead of Alfa Romeo and pushing on to the Aston Martin and AlphaTauri. So if we can get close to them, maybe we'll start to see a few more points finishes and less P18, P17, P16 and fighting against Williams and Alfa Romeo the whole time. So, and also we might be able to get into Q2 a few times as well, which would be a great sight for Haas. Maybe even Q3 like Kevin Magnussen did in real life. But here we are, we're upgrading the car. I'm just waffling along as we are upgrading. I'm looking to see what races we have next. We have Austria and Silverstone after this. So obviously in my home Grand Prix, I want to make sure we have the right upgrades. We're going to get a lot of power upgrades. And you can see I'm going to try and put another one on here, but obviously we don't have enough resource points. But we are going to put another one on after this race, because Silverstone is obviously a very fast track. So you want to make sure that your power unit's there, and you want to make sure your aero is good as well. But that is enough talking about future races, because we are on to the French Grand Prix, a Grand Prix that I really do like. I love racing around this track. It is one of my favourite tracks to race around on this game. I'd say top 5, maybe even top 3. It's up there with Silverstone, Austria. I just like racing around this track. I'm pretty fast. So in Q1, here we go. We're coming down to turn 1 and turn 2. And if you get these two corners right, it can save you a lot of time around here. We come around turn 2, and you can see I get a lot of the curb and a lot of oversteer. And I almost lost the car there. So that was almost all she wrote in qualifying 15 seconds in. So that's going to lose me a lot of time. But at least I know for my second qualifying lap, there is plenty of time to gain in those two corners, the first two corners. So if I hit them right the next lap, I'm going to be up maybe even half a second, just because if you get those two corners right, it can make or break your whole lap. And coming around that last corner, it was kind of an average lap after that. It was getting a time on the board, just trying to get ahead of the Williams drivers and my teammate. And you can see I'm about half a second away from a potential Q2, which is, or even less than that actually. It's 3/10 from Kimi Räikkönen. It was half a tenth from Sebastian Vettel, so it's actually not a bad time. 7/10 ahead of my teammate. He is always way back, so that's not too great. But we are ahead of both Williams drivers and ahead of my teammate, so it's not a bad banker lap. And knowing that we have plenty of time to gain in these first two corners, we're going to turn it in, and that's much better in the turn 1, which is going to give us a better run out of turn 2. And you can see the amount of time we are gaining, the amount of speed we managed to get out of turn 2, and we're almost half a second up on our time, and we are absolutely flying in this second qualifying lap. And we very well could make our first appearance into Q2 of the season, and we're just gaining time everywhere. Coming down this straight, we are over 6/10 up on our time. I think we need to make up about half a second, and we should be good into Q2, and we're battering the time that we need. Obviously there's more grip at the end of this session, because it is later on and the track is heating up the more and more the cars go around, so it's going to be more grip, and we're up 8/10. It was a fantastic through the chicane there, so over 8/10 up on our time. You can see in that top left corner we are 5.5 tenths up on Kimi Räikkönen, which is the time we need to get through into Q2. So right now we can kind of cruise through the rest of this lap. We can almost, take a step back and just make sure we get through. But you can see we're still finding time. We're still gaining. We're a whole second up on our time as we come around these last couple of corners, and we go very, very wide. We're going to lose a lot of time there coming around this final corner. You can see how much time we've lost. We've lost almost half a second, but we're going to gain it back with the exit on that last corner. And are we going to make it into Q2 for the first time this season? You bet we are. What a lap that is. Even made a mistake in the final penultimate corner. We made that mistake, and we still comfortably made it into Q2. Just behind the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. We're only a tenth behind Lance Stroll and a couple tenths behind Tsunoda and Ocon, and we still had another 4 tenths in us if we had hit that second to last corner. Right, so P15 in Q1, we might even be able to get up to P11, maybe P12. They had a dream of a Q3 appearance in this Haas car, and you can see we're going to go out for one run. 130.7 is what we did in the first qualifying, and a 130.7 is what Lance Stroll did. So if we can improve on our time, we're going to be starting higher than P15, and coming into turn 1 it was a bit dodgy, and coming into turn 2 you can see we didn't quite get the exit from turn 1 that we needed, which compromised our turn 2, and we tried to put too much speed in it because we had one go at it, one crack, one roll of the dice, and yeah, it wasn't a lap to be. But we're going to save that soft tyre just in case we need it in this race if a safety car does come out. But P15, it is not a bad starting position at all.
The French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Carlos Sainz and Leclerc, Norris, Gasly, Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, Stevens, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Mazepin and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So there it is, we are going to be starting P15. I was hoping for maybe a couple of grid penalties to maybe boost me up a couple of positions, but unfortunately there was none. So we're going to start on the medium tyres, which is obviously the obvious one, so we can do a one-stop medium to hard, which most of the cars around us are doing. And we're going to see if we can get a good start here. 5 red lights and away we go. And Lance Stroll gets a poor start, which is going to help us as we move up into P14 already. So a fantastic start for us in the Haas. And we're going to go up the inside of his teammate Sebastian Vettel, but we're going to slot in behind. Very wary that we could get damage if we made a move up the inside. So we're taking it a bit cautious. And Lance Stroll down the inside is going to make the move on us. So we'll drop back all the way to P15 again. But obviously we're not going to give up there. We're going to go around the outside, which turns into the inside for the next corner. And now we're going to have a go at Sebastian Vettel around the outside, who covers off the inside, cutting off his teammate. And as Vettel comes across, we go down the inside. What a move that is. It's a nice little switchback. And coming down the straight, we're going to have to deploy our ERS to try and stay ahead of the Aston Martin. What a move that was. A little switchback on Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time world champion. As he comes back at us, he's trying to go around the outside. We've covered off the inside, and it's good defending as we stay ahead of him into the chicane. And what a start from us, up 2 positions into P13, ahead of both Aston Martins, who are now going side by side each other in the background. But what a start that was for us. And on the end of lap 1, you can see we're still ahead of the Aston Martins. We're going to try and catch up to the group ahead of us, see if we can close down that gap a little bit as they start to fight. But Sebastian Vettel behind us, he's not going to let us go ahead. He's not going to let us get clear, especially with the Mercedes power unit in the back of that car. He's going to have a go at us. He's going to go round the outside. We're going to defend towards the inside. We're going to hit the apex nice and clean. And we do very well there, but he's going to get a better exit, a better run on us down, I think this is turn 4. And he's got the inside line. We're going to get the inside line for the next corner. He squeezes us a little bit, and we're going to give him plenty of room as he goes to the inside again. And this is a battle for the ages right here. fighting against the Aston Martin, losing us time in front. I think we lost over a second battling with Sebastian Vettel, but we do not want to give this place up. We do not want to let him run away, and we're going to use all our ERS down this main straight. About 20% we've used just to try and stay ahead. Is he going to have a look down the inside? He thinks about it, but no, he is not going to have a look. He is not close enough, and we stay ahead of the ex-Red Bull and Ferrari man. And on to lap 4, we are still ahead of him, comfortably ahead of him, but obviously now DRS is going to play a part into this main straight, and he should, being this close to us, get the move done, because in a straight line we are just not there, especially with the Ferrari engine in 2021. It is not the greatest, it is not as good as the Mercedes engine, and with DRS and the Mercedes engine he's going to go down the inside, and he makes that look very, very easy indeed. So now our goal for the rest of this race, you can see the ERS that we have in the bottom left is already down below 50%, so we've used a lot just to try and stay ahead of Vettel. So now what we're going to try and do is stay with him and use the DRS to our advantage, and you can see already we're back up to above 80% just by staying in his DRS and not using our ERS these past couple laps. And the first pit stops are coming in, so you see Bottas, Sainz, Perez, they're all coming in on their soft tyres because they have to do a two-stop strategy. They started on the softs as they made it into Q3 on the soft tyres. So they're going to have to do the two-stop strategy. And this is why we have a chance at points. In this one stop, it's going to save us plenty of time. This Grand Prix, French Grand Prix, has a long pit stop. So that's why I'm confident. If we could stay with Sebastian Vettel and then eventually overtake him, points is on the cards, because he's going to become one of our biggest rivals for points. We'll be fighting him towards the end of the race most likely, as he'll be on the same strategy as us. So it's vital that we stay with him. We cannot let him get out of our DRS range. And likewise, Ocon and Tsunoda ahead, who are also on the medium tyres, we also have to catch up. So that's what I'm kind of working with Vettel right now, letting him do his thing, letting him show some speed so that we can catch up to the two ahead, because we will be fighting them as well. If we can win the battle between Vettel, Ocon and Tsunoda, if we can finish ahead of all three of those, points is very likely, because the two stoppers who started in 8th, 9th and 10th, I can't remember who it is, but I think Fernando Alonso is one of them, for example, in the Alpine. He's got to stop twice. That's losing him about 30 seconds or something. I think it's around 30 seconds the pit stop here, because it's such a long pit stop, at least 25. So he's got to stop twice, and that's going to be a huge advantage if we can beat these three cars up ahead. So it's vital that we stay close to them. And on lap 11, it's around now when you start to think, when are we going to pit onto the hard tyres? These mediums last us around 13 laps before they start to get a bit dodgy and you start to feel the wear on the tyres. And we are very close to Sebastian Vettel. And at the end of lap 12, you can see Ocon and Tsunoda up ahead. They are coming into the pits. So now it's going to be me and Vettel out in front. And at this point I realised, okay, now I have to attack. Now I have to get past Sebastian, because he's going to want to pit this lap. And I want to pit this lap to see if how close we can get to Ocon and Tsunoda, who's pitted in front. And I want to make sure I'm coming into the pits before Vettel, because if we come behind Vettel, then we still have to overtake him on the track after we come out the pits. So it is very crucial that we come out ahead of him in the pits, and we've got to get him this lap. So we're going to use all our ERS, we're going to push with our DRS as well, and we are not quite close enough here. We're just under half a second, but I'm not sure if that's close enough in the Haas car. We're going to use all our ERS and all our DRS. We're going to see if we can make a move with the slipstream, but we just don't have the speed. We really do not. With DRS and ERS, I thought we would have a lot more pace down there, but we're going to see what we can do. Coming out of the chicane, we get a half decent exit. Vettel gets a little bit of traction on the medium tyres coming out, and we are right behind him as we come across this fast sweeping right-hander. And we're going to have a look down the inside with ERS. And can we make the move down the inside? No, we cannot. But we're going to fight it all the way. Sebastian Vettel leaves us some room. We almost make contact. And this is a fight that's going to go all the way into the pit lane. And as we come around, we're going to see if we can get a better exit. But what has happened? I think my game has crashed. Something has happened on my game. Very frustrating. And you can see here, yes, my game has crashed. So we're going to see. And I think I'm not sure what exactly happened, but the game just crashed and it fixes itself. So it was very weird, and it was an awful timing because we were about to have another run at Sebastian Vettel coming out of that corner, and now I'm just going on instant replay to see where I am, just so I know when I'm paused where I actually am. And you can see this battle was getting really heated up, and coming out there we were going to get good traction and we were going to have another go at him, but with the game crashing, obviously for 2 seconds my car just goes really slow, so that's going to cost us quite big. Thankfully it paused and saved our game, so we don't have to restart the whole race. But we lost about a second from that game crashing, and Vettel comes into the pits, and now we decide we're going to go for the overcut. We're going to see if we can do it. We're going to use all our ERS, all our DRS, because towards the end of that lap I felt like I had the pace on Sebastian Vettel. He didn't look that fast. Obviously DRS helped, but if I use all my ERS, which I did, you can see in the bottom left we're down to 20% from 65%. We might be able to come out ahead of him and do the overcut. And with the cars behind us, Perez and Verstappen, we want to come in now, and we do go a little bit wide as we're coming into the pit stop. We're going to slam on the brakes, and we come into the pits, and we're going to see where we come out. If we can come out ahead of Vettel, chance for points is up there. And I'm looking at my mini-map right now, and I think he was stuck behind the Alfa Romeo, so he's lost quite a bit of time. And if you look down at the mini-map, he is still 2 corners away, and we're coming out the pits, so we're going to come out well ahead of our rival Sebastian Vettel. Ocon and Tsunoda are up ahead, but Stroll and Vettel, I think they've been fighting, so it's actually been Stroll that's been holding up his teammate, and we've came out 5 seconds ahead, 6 seconds ahead, so we've gained almost 6 seconds. 7 seconds in fact, because we were a second behind before he went into the pit stop. So we've gained about 7 seconds on Vettel by coming in a lap later, because he got held up by traffic, which couldn't be more perfect for us. So with 12 laps to go, we're sitting P13, and we have a chance at points because cars up ahead, like Fernando Alonso for example, still has to pit. And we're going to move on a couple laps, and you can see up into the points now, P9, and more cars still need to pit. So the chance at points is well and truly on. And we're going to come down the main straight with just over 10 laps to go, and Sainz needs to pit. So Sainz is in the pits, and a couple others, Lando Norris, Valtteri Bottas, Perez. So everybody that's coming to the pits, obviously we're going to let a couple past, as they're going to be a lot faster than us. But maybe people like Sainz or Gasly, who's on the 2-stop, and Fernando Alonso, we might be able to hold them off until the end of the race and get points here in the French Grand Prix, one of my favourite places to race. But people like Lewis Hamilton coming up on us, we're just going to let fly by. And that is the last person we're going to let pass, because behind us now is Sebastian Vettel, and on the fast to medium tyre is Pierre Gasly. So now we're hoping Sebastian Vettel, who was our rival at one point, is going to hold these cars up behind and give us the best chance possible to actually get points this race. So we got around 7 laps to go, just over 7 laps to go, and we're going to try and stay as close to Lewis Hamilton in front as possible, so we can get DRS down the next straight. And on these hard tyres, we're doing an unbelievable job. Hamilton on the mediums, Norris on the mediums, we're on the hards, and we're using all our ERS, and we're going to actually manage to stay within DRS range to get DRS for that one more straight, which could be crucial come the end of the race. That's going to give us an extra 3-4 tenths advantage to what we wouldn't have if we didn't get DRS down this main straight, and we're going to be able to save a bit of our ERS. And now, so that extra DRS might actually come in crucial for us at the end of the race, and we're going to move on a couple more laps, and you can see Gasly and Sainz have now got past Sebastian Vettel. So it's Gasly and Sainz which are the two that are going to ruin our day, if anybody. They're the two that's going to finish 9th and 10th if they get past us. So it is pivotal that we stay ahead of at least one. But luckily for us, Sainz is closing in on Pierre Gasly. They are fighting. They are going to be fighting for that P10 position. And if they keep fighting for these past 4.5 laps, it's going to give us a chance to get away that little bit further And maybe, just maybe, we might get P9 in this race, or maybe P10. Either would work. We'll take any points we can at this stage, because this car is not built for a point scoring position, but our strategy and our performance to stay with Sebastian Vettel and then go for the overcut has proved wonders. We're in P9 with 4 laps to go. It is looking like it could be a very, very good day for Haas and Gunther Steiner, and we could get our second point scoring position of the year. Obviously, we got 6 points back in Imola in the second race of the season. I think there was like 2 or 3 safety cars in that race. Absolutely crazy race. So if you didn't see that one, you have to see that one out of all the episodes. That was the craziest race I've been a part of, and we did get points in there. But we're focused on this one now. You can see we're building a bit of a gap now. We've gained about half a second because Gasly and Sainz are battling. They were battling down the pit straight, and Sainz is going to have another go at him down this straight. He's going to go around the outside, so they're still fighting. They're still costing each other time as Sainz eventually gets the move done, and he does get around the outside of Gasly. So with just over 3 laps to go, Carlos Sainz is around 2.5 seconds behind us, and he's going to look to have a go at us. He's going to look to have a go at us towards the end of this race. Those medium tyres are still going to be a lot faster than us. And 2 laps to go now. Coming down this pit straight, we do have the Spaniard on our tail. He's in DRS range. He's 6.5 tenths behind. But the good news for us is Pierre Gasly is still 2 seconds behind. So a whole 2 seconds behind us. We should be able to hold that off in 2 laps. We should be able to stay ahead of Pierre Gasly in his home Grand Prix for these final 2 laps and bring home at least 1 point for Haas. But it's the question, do we fight with Carlos Sainz and risk getting no points, or do we just let him go? And you're damn right, we are going to fight against Carlos Sainz. We're not going to let him go easily. But the Ferrari just has too much speed down the straight with the DRS. But we're going to try and come in, and oh my gosh, we almost lose the back end of the car. We do lose the back end, and that's going to cost us a whole second. Thankfully we don't get a penalty, but it did cost us about a second. And now Pierre Gasly is within 6 tenths. He is within a chance of getting us in this final lap. So it's come down to the final lap. It's us versus the hometown hero, Pierre Gasly. He's in his country. He wants to get into the points. And we're going to have to defend with all our might on these worn down hard tyres against Gasly, who's going to be a lot faster on those medium tyres. And we've kind of cost ourselves this ourselves, you know. We've put this on ourselves by trying to fight with Carlos Sainz. We should have just let him have the position. We should have just tucked him behind and not risked it. And now Gasly's going to have a go at us down the pit straight. We're going to defend. We do get our elbows out. We make sure we stay ahead coming down into here, but he's going to have a much better run out of turn 2. A lot of oversteer. We're losing the car. The handling is just gone. The car's just not good enough. And Gasly in that AlphaTauri is going to get past. We're going to have to concede. But obviously there is one more DRS straight. Then we're going to have a chance to get him back. Can we get close enough coming out of here? We do not get the same traction. He gets a lot better traction on the medium tyres, but we're going to use all of the ERS. We're going to use the DRS down the straight. We're just over half a second away, but the power that he has, the engine is just too strong for us. And we're going to try and have a go at him now. Can we get close enough? We make a little bit of contact, almost trying to force our way through back into the points. We really want the points, and we're going to have a chance to have another go at him up here. But Gasly is just too fast in that AlphaTauri and is slowly going away from us and coming into the final sector. We're just not going to have the speed. We're not going to have the chance to get back past him. Daniel Ricciardo behind us in the McLaren. We needed him to come about a lap earlier to fight with Gasly to help us maybe get away, but and you can hear Jeff telling me rain is forecast in about 10 minutes time. So thank you, Jeff. We're going to chuck the wets on once the race is finished. We really appreciate that. But painful ending to the race as we were in point scoring position pretty much the whole race, and we're going to cross the line in P11, a second behind Pierre Gasly in P10, losing it on the final lap. But it was a fantastic race from us and a really enjoyable one to drive. But P11 is a good result, but to lose it on the last lap is gutting.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then after a quality performance. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So P11 in the race, Pierre Gasly getting P10 right in that final lap is a bit of a killer. But Max Verstappen wins the race with Perez, Leclerc, Ocon, Bottas, Tsunoda, and then Hamilton all the way down in P7 in the Mercedes. So he's having trouble this season. I think Hamilton's falling off the pace in the Drivers' Championship. But let's have a look how our teammate did. Down in P19, you wouldn't expect anything less. What a driver. A minute behind the leader. And only getting P19 because Kimi Räikkönen did retire. So another poor performance from Nikita Mazepin. In the Drivers' Championship, you can see there, Lewis Hamilton on 69 points in P4, and he is falling off the pace quite a bit. The top three was very tight, I think separated by only about 10 points. But we are P14 in the driver's standings, still with 6 points, tied with the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, and Mazepin still yet to get a point this season. In the constructors' standings, Haas, we are still with 6 points in P8, but we might need to get a couple more points just in case Alfa Romeo or Williams do get a fluke result at some point this season. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and if you are enjoying the series, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.